again, everybody. Welcome back to the Huddle, the Review.com's weekly high school sports show. I'm Executive Editor Rob Toder, joined as always by Sports Editor Mike Brown. And it's state championship week around the state of Ohio this week. We have state baseball, we have state track. And Mike, let's start with the St. Thomas girls track and field team. Really the odds-on favorite. I think it's going to come down to them and Minster, as you mentioned last week, for a state championship.
Yeah, absolutely, Rob. I mean, I can't wait for Saturday because that's going to be fun. You know, Minster qualified 13 girls in 9 events. St. Tom qualified 11 girls in 9 events. And when you go through and break it down, it's either St. Thomas's first going to the state in one event and Minster's first in another. And they both have 4x400 relay teams. So that's going to be the last event on Saturday. It would be interesting if it comes down to that last race. It could.
Very well could.
Yeah.
Some of the girls from St. Thomas that you think have a really good chance to win a state title.
Right. Well, you have Athena Welch, the defending 1,600-meter state champ, and the defending state runner-up in the 3,200 meters. So she's going to do well again. St. Thomas has 4 relay teams going to state. They have the top time in the state in 3 of them, and the second best time to Minster in the other one. So I think it comes down to that. But they've got a lot. You know, Megan Hoffman's going to the state in the pole vault, second straight year. She has a chance to place high. I think she has the 3rd best vault going into the state finals. And like I said, their relay teams are going to be right there. You know, I think they're going to be really good in probably the 400 with Kaylee Sunland. I think she has the 2nd best time going to the state behind a girl from Minster. So it's those kind of matchups that are really intriguing for me.
Okay, let's turn our attention to the boys' side of things and this weekend and some of the individuals that have an opportunity to do well.
Right. Well, I think you have the West Branch High jumper Zach Robbins, you know, who jumped. He set a regional record at Fitch last Saturday. He jumped 6'9"1/4. And I talked to him after the meet last week and asked him what it's going to take in his mind to win a state title. And he thinks, you know, anywhere from 6'10" to 7 foot could possibly win the state title because the person who beat him from Linda McKinley last year is back this year. So it could very well come down to those two again for the state title in the high jump. And then obviously Jake Zinni from West Branch was 5th in the state last year in the discus. He's going in 2 events, the discus and the shot put. And in Marlington, Garrett Floyd. I mean, there's probably the best athlete in our area as far as track goes, who's injured right now, but even with an injured knee, finished 2nd and barely 2nd at the regional at Fitch last week, and I think he's going to be right there in the 400 come Saturday too.
Okay, and St. Thomas boys with an even dozen state qualifiers,
Yep.
But they're a young team. I mean, realistically, what do you think you can expect out of them?
Yeah, I think they've done a tremendous job because they were young last year, and they're still a young team this year, but they got 12 guys to state. Now, unlike the St. Thomas girls, those guys are going to state, finishing 4th or 3rd in regional events last week. So I think they've already accomplished a lot. And now it's kind of icing on the cake for them. If they can place, get that experience, and then next year, you know, they would have a chance to really do something. And who knows? You know, they may have some guys who could place very high this year at the state meet.
Okay, let's turn our attention to baseball. Western Reserve back in the state Final Four for the 2nd year in a row. Obviously, great pitching carried the Blue Devils this year, but also a good offensive team. And they're going to face a Hicksville team. Give us kind of a quick scouting report on that game.
Yeah, Hicksville's a team that hasn't been to state, I believe, Rob, in like 20 or 30 years. So, you know, they've had a great season. You know, it's funny, neither one of these two teams have like a 22-0 record. They don't have the glistening records. They have good records. But they've got a way, they've overcome obstacles throughout the year to get there. And I think in Western Reserve's case, the fact that they got to state last year and were very competitive in a state semifinal loss to Newark Catholic is going to help them this year. Because a lot of times I hear that from people. Sometimes you have to get to state to realize the atmosphere and to be able to handle that and just go out and play the game. And I think that's what Western Reserve has the advantage this year against Hicksville. So, you know, Western Reserve's got good pitching. Those guys have the experience. They have the state experience from last year. And I think they've got a good shot against the Hicksville Aces come Thursday night at 7 o'clock at Huntington Park.
Yeah, very good. Make sure you check out the review.com and the Alliance Review for coverage of the Western Reserve baseball team. Friday, state track, Saturday, state track. We'll have coverage all weekend from there as well. So, Mike, it's been a pleasure. Great spring. And for Mike Brown, this is Rob Toder. We'll see you next week.